Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Today I'm going to inspire you on how to design your own sustainable behavior. But first of all, I have a question. I'm curious to know, does anyone here have the intention to live more sustainably? Oh, you can raise your hands. No one? Oh, I does. And I here stands for you and you and you and he. I stands for Ben, Katrien, and I stands for Ingrid. I also stands for 90% of the people living all around the world that claim to want to live more sustainably. But subsequently, they don't act that sustainably. Look at I. Yesterday, I bought a car and I really wanted to buy a sustainable car. So, for weeks, I went through a lot of information and I was wondering which car should fit me. I was considering emotional and rational elements. I was seeing if this sustainable car, if I would be able to drive, for instance, an electric car. I was wondering what my friends and relatives would say when I was driving an electric car. And most of all, it's me. I was wondering if I would look cool in an electric car. And when deciding that I would look cool in an electric car, I got the attitude to buy. I got a positive attitude towards the car, and then I had the intention to buy one, and finally yesterday I bought one. But this morning I woke up. I went to the toilet, I went to my bathroom, and I was brushing my teeth while my tap was still running. Then I took a long, hot shower, at least 10 minutes, and I squeezed lots of chemical soap out of a single-use plastic bottle. Afterwards, I made myself an easy-to-make cup of coffee with a single-use coffee pot. Do we see some paradoxes in this behavior? How comes? How is it possible that there are so much inconsequences in my behavior? It comes because our brain functions this way. In the first situation, Kahneman already told us, in the first situation, we activate our system 2 thinking. Our system 2 thinking is slow, it's conscious, and it helps us by making big decisions, like buying cars, installing heating pumps, solar system, and so on. So the theory of planned behavior and all its extensions make quite good attempts to predict behavior intention in these kinds of situations. Right? By considering, for instance, subjective norms, perceived behavioral control, attitudes, and so on. And most of us think that this kind of behavior, this kind of conscious behaviors, are most important to reach more sustainability in our lives. Partly that's true, but we have to consider that only 5% of our daily lives are steered by this kind of systems. So for 95% of our behaviors are steered more automatically by our system 1 thinking, habits, automated processes. It makes also our lives much more easy, luckily. Otherwise, I should still be in the bathroom by now. So let's have a quick reminder of what Mr. Pavlov, Skinner, and lately also James Clear already told us about habit formation. How is our habits formed? It's always the same. It's always 4 steps. It always starts with a cue that triggers a craving. And this craving motivates us to respond. And this responses leads us to rewards. And hopefully, these rewards are satisfying for our cravings. And when these rewards are satisfying for our cravings, we will repeat the same mechanism, the same responses again. So, for instance, this morning I woke up, I felt a bit dizzy, and I wanted to feel more alert. So what did I do? I make myself an easy-to-make cup of coffee, I drank it and I felt more alert. So probably tomorrow I will repeat it again. When I feel dizzy, I will drink my coffee. So when wondering how we could reach more sustainability, I would look at this 95% of our behaviors, of the processes that steer our behaviors in every day. So it seems logical to me to ask the question, how can I change these bad habits that support my unsustainable behavior into habits that probably can support more sustainable behavior? It's a logical question to ask. And then I think perhaps my system two thinking, when I add a bit of my system two thinking to my system one thinking, perhaps it equals to more sustainable behavior. It seems very simple, but it's not that easy. And why isn't it that easy? It is because when looking at this system, we all tend to look at responses that we give. What am I doing? How can I change my response? And that's difficult. And why is it so difficult to change that response? Because habits, once they are installed, they seem to last forever. And it's really effortful for people to change this response. And when something is very effortful, as a consequence, we ask for a very big reward. And we are here in a sustainable context, meaning that rewards in this sustainable context are not so easy, are to get really the feeling that it is rewarding for you, because sustainable rewards, they mostly relate to the whole world and not to me. Sustainable rewards are mostly projected in the far future and not in the here and now. Mostly they are abstract and not concrete. And most of all, we have the feeling that they are not really into our self-control, but we are depending on other people to get the final rewards. So, difficult. But luckily, I'm an optimist. And I remember that 90% of the people worldwide, and also here, they all have good intentions. So that's something nice to remember. And then I was wondering, perhaps I should change my question. Perhaps I should not ask myself, how can I respond in a more sustainable way? How can I change this response? But what can I design to trigger and to support my sustainable intentions? So I should have some designer skills. Perhaps you all say, but well, we are not designers, it's so difficult for us. What a strange idea. But I will convince you, we are all designers. I refer to one of my favorite artists, Joseph Beuys, and he already told us that we are all micro designers. We can shape the conditions of our lives. We can shape the way we are thinking and doing. So, being a micro designer, I ask myself again, what can I design to trigger and support my sustainable intentions? And I have 5 propositions for you to design things, 5 design challenges that will help all of us. So my first design challenge is about creating and designing your future self, your future sustainable self. You can do this by using the persona technique. You make a stereotype of your own. A bit tricky, but this stereotype can steer you very easy in your daily lives. You think about yourself as, what does my future self look like? What does she want? What makes her happy? What does she wear? What does she do? What does she have? And this is more easy to steer daily decisions in your life. I have a second design challenge, and this is about evoking the right cravings. Already Enzio Manzini told us in his social design approach that we should really consider what we really need and not what we are greeding for. What are really needs, and if you see and look at yourself, what are your needs? What are your true needs? I think some things go about getting a positive image of yourself, being a congruent personality, perhaps also being judged positively by others. Another greed we may have is perhaps we want to get affirmation of other groups members. We want to belong to the safety of a group. So perhaps we will mimic behaviors of others and we want them to mimic our behavior. So as a consequence of this kind of cravings, we may design a good social network that can support us. Our third design challenge is about creating small responses. How difficult it is to become a sustainable person. It's a huge mountain we have to climb, but how easy it is to become a sustainable soap-bar user. Nothing difficult at all. We can observe our behaviors. It's very feasible to do. We can observe it every day. We can communicate about it. Piece of cake. And most of all, these goals relate to me. They are very concrete, they are now, and they are into my own self-control. So my fourth design challenge is about creating a rewarding experience. The reward lays in the experience. And this experience always has three elements. It always has a kind of a sensorial experience, a kind of a behavioral experience, and a kind of a reflective experience. So, for instance, when using a soap bar, it has to smell good sensorily. It has to be easy to handle. And most of all, it can contribute to make myself feel like a positive, sustainable person. So my fifth design challenge, this is my last one, is about designing your environment in such a way that it facilitates and supports your sustainable behavior. So what should you do? You should make the sustainable choices you make in your daily life, you should make them the most available ones, the most attractive one, the most obvious one, so that you can observe and that you are always stimulated by positive cues in your environment. Make them the default setting. So we will need 5 times our system 2 thinking to take these 5 design challenges. By taking these 5 design challenges, we will come nearer to our future sustainable self. And by becoming nearer to our sustainable self, we will act more sustainably. And we can reshape one habit, another habit, another habit. And the more habits that we reshape, the more we support our sustainable self. And the more we feel like a sustainable self, we will get more and better habits. We will steer our habits to be more sustainable. And this will reinforce, again, our sustainable self. And so we have a nice circle to make. So to conclude, remember some slides ago, I gave you a kind of magic formula by saying, perhaps we can add a little bit of system 2 to our system 1 thinking, and perhaps this can equal to more sustainable behavior. But then I said also, this will be very difficult to do. It seems simple, but it is not easy. Now I present you another formula, a formula that is not simple, but that can make our life easier. A formula that says use 5 times your system 2 thinking for designing for taking nice design challenges. And by doing so, this will equal to 1 more sustainable habit. So the formula is 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 equals 1. And this is how you can design your own sustainable self. Thank you.